अखंडमंडलाकारं व्याप्तमेन चराचरं तत्पदं पूजितं च तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. Paying my highest obedience to all the giving energies present in form of gurus, before starting today's discussions on Dattatraya's life. Dattatray was an avadhut and he has renounced the whole world. As you know, and we have been teaching that there are 5 gurus to any human being anywhere in the world. And human being has got no capacity to learn anything by its own, and everything what you learn and what you do, you learn from one of these gurus. And among these gurus, the first one is your mother. Knowingly and unknowingly, she has taught us a lot of so-called good things, and maybe 1 or 2 adverse things also, like sleep, otherwise cat will come. So unknowingly, maybe she has taught us a little fear, but she has taught us whatever she knew and has almost given all the wisdom of her life to us. Then second guru of ours is our father, who teaches us everything, very minute things, how your life will be and how can you lead life nicely. Third guru is surrounding, and it is the third guru where all the illusion comes in. There is no doubt that we have learned a lot of things from mother, a lot of things from father, but when it comes to surrounding, we think we have already picked up, nobody has taught us. But no, you have not picked up. There was somebody who said me, we can learn everything from the books. But what are the books? It has been written by somebody. So if not directly, indirectly someone is teaching you. And we learn a great deal from this guru called surrounding, by a process called observance. Fourth guru is our school teacher, and all of us, we know that school teachers teaches us the information of the world which are useful to us in our life. And the fifth guru is a spiritual teacher, a spiritual guru, who teaches us unlearning of many things what we have learned. And he teaches us that you are not your body. You are something different than your body, and he guides us to path of consciousness where we will be able to understand who we really are. Now, Dattatray was very lucky to have a nice mother in form of Ansuya, a very nice father as Atri. They were his teacher also, and they were his guru also. When Mother Ansuya was present, there was no need of any other guru. She was Enlightened, she had the wisdom to part for Dattatray. His name was Datt and his father name was Atri, and from his father name he was also called Atreya, and that is how his name happened to be Dattatray. Okay. So he met on his path. He never used to stay at one place. He will stay at one place only for 8 months and then will move on. And all those places where he has done his perseverance, those are enlightened people, and people visit them today also. And there is a belief that we can gain some wisdom from those places too. So in his moving path, one day he met a king by name Yadu, who was very sad. The sad king is seeing a happy, smiling ascetic. He thinks, I have everything, this ascetic has nothing, still he is smiling and I am sad. And it keeps happening. So king goes and says, what is the cause of your smiling? Who has taught you this? Who was your guru? Then Dattatray thinks, oh, I don't want to say that my mother was my guru, my father was my guru. So he says the whole world, the whole surrounding, the whole universe is all my guru only. Na? Everyone is my guru. Today, somebody was a little upset with me and I thought she is my guru. She has taught me not to be upset maybe. So then he says, can you specify some? For sure, Dattatray says, for sure, 24 are my gurus. And then the king asked, who? He says, okay. And whatever Dattatray says, I am saying, it is not possible to cover all the 24. So I'll name all 24 to you, and then we can describe few. Okay? So Dattatray says, earth is my guru. And from earth, I have learned forgiveness and charity. Water is my guru. From water, I have learned cleanliness and melody. Because madhurya, madhur is the word, Sanskrit word for melody, and you know what water is? You drink, always a sweetness is present in water. You may think it is not, but it is always present, and that is why, because of that sweet taste, we like to drink it. And therefore, madhur is present in water. From fire, fire is my guru. And whatever you give to fire, it always tries to keep it in its belly, never keeps anything for tomorrow, and therefore I have learnt non-accumulation from fire. From air, air moves everywhere. It touches everyone. It touches plant, mountains, river, but it touches and goes. It does not get involved with your qualities. Okay, if you are angry, you remain angry, it goes. If you are happy, you remain happy, it doesn't affect and moves on. And therefore Dattatreya says, I have learned anasakti, the detachment from air. Then space. In space, everything is present. Stars, sun, moon, many things. But space doesn't become friendly to any of these. Space remains a space. It doesn't get involved in the affairs of sun. It doesn't get involved in the affairs of moon, affairs of Jupiter, affairs of Saturn. It doesn't get involved with anything. It remains only space. And therefore, I have learned not to get close to anyone from space. And then I see moon here, you see. The round moon is there. And the Dattatreya says, it appears half moon. And my disciples also, my personals, they always request me to perform some fire ritual on no moon day and on full moon day. So, there is no moon day. There is no full moon day, first, second, third day, fourth day of moon. It is all apparent. It is illusion. The reality is that moon is always full. It depends from where you are seeing. And why are you not able to see the whole moon? Because earth is in between and the shadow of earth does not allow you to see the complete moon. Moon is complete. From this, he says, I have learned the completeness of myself, completeness of my soul. Everyone says, you need to attain completeness. You need to walk 1,000 miles. And a very lovely disciple of mine, she asked me, will I be able to reach in 13 years? In 12? 10? You are not walking anywhere. There is no real journey. It is an apparent journey. It is your illusion, your ego does not allow you to know what you are. You were complete, you are complete, you will be complete. Like the moon. Our soul is like the moon which is always complete. But if I say to a normal ordinary person seeing half moon, you see moon is complete. Second moment he says to me, yes, moon is complete, but you know you need to go to a mental hospital. You need a treatment because maybe.
Or maybe you say, did you ever consider to buy glasses?
Yeah, maybe even that. So Dattatreya says, I have learned the completeness of soul from the moon, that it is always complete. And because of the dirt, because of the illusion, because of the ego present in me, I am not able to see my completeness. And then from sun, I have learned that there is a possibility that you can get involved in your indriyas. But you need, and you can take the materialistic world needed by your indriyas. But you must leave it at an appropriate time. And how I learned it from sun? Because sun takes the water from ocean, from sea, lifts it up with its own energy. But then we realize very fast that it is not needed for me. What I am doing? And then it takes away the energy from the water, and water falls down on earth in form of rain. And from this quality of sun, I have learned that the material things of indriyas you must take, but don't get involved totally. Leave it at an appropriate time. Then king asks Yadu, he says, oh, you have learned from all the great personalities. You are definitely genius, and that is why a smile is present on your face. Have you learned something from a small thing? He says, yes. Next thing I have learned from pigeon. King Yadu says, what a man can learn from pigeon? He says, I have learned affection is the cause of life and death from pigeon. Then what else? I have learned something also from python. What? No desire. Pigeon story. What?
Who did you learn from?
Python.
Okay.
Okay. Python, I saw that it is always lying and doesn't go even in the search of food. And whatever comes nearby it, it just catches and eats. It doesn't go. And food comes automatically to python. Python doesn't go in search of food, and therefore I have learned the quality of no desires from a python. Then you have not seen king. There are many rivers who come with a very high speed and meet the ocean. But ocean remains unaffected. It doesn't move. Whatever place it was occupying, the same place it always occupies. It doesn't move. So the quality of remaining unaffected, I have learned from the quality of remaining unaffected, I have learned from ocean. And then there is very small insects. Now king started thinking, oh my God, how can he learn from insects? And what have you learned from this bumblebee? He says, these insects, not understanding whether he will be alive or dead, moves on to fire, moves on to candle, move on to electric bulb, and get burns and finishes his life. His love towards light is so great that he finishes himself in search of that light. And what I have learned, that my mind, if I can put like this in my soul, the whole purpose is done. and then I put my mind in my soul to attain enlightenment, he says. I have learned to start the process of enlightenment from this insect bumblebee. Then I saw moth. You know what moth does? It never takes all the elixir from one flower. It takes some from one flower, moves on to the next one, then to the next one, and then to the next one, takes little elixir from this, then from the other, then from that. The nectar of the flower, it can take all the nectar from one flower, but it doesn't take, it takes from one place, two place, second place, third place, and fourth place. And I have learned from there that if I need one bread, I can take it from 4 different places. Okay? So that I am not burdened on any one person. And I tell you, any good, any noble cause you want to do, involve the society, involve the people. You want to build a college, involve people. They will build college for you. You want to build a yoga center, involve people. They will build a yoga center for you. One person will not be able to do, but if you start taking nectar from every flower, then there is a possibility that you will be able to make it. This quality I learned from a moth. And king, I learned something also from honeybee. What? I saw honeybee collecting the honey from many places, not eating, but collecting it so that my future remains safe and secure. And when 5 kilograms of honey gets collected, a hunter comes in. He either chases away the bees or he kills the bees and takes away all the honey. We human beings, he says, are no different than this honey bee, because we accumulate everything and then the messenger of God comes in and takes us away. All the accumulation remains in this world and is being taken away by others. And therefore, the quality of non-accumulation I have learned from honey bee. And then from elephant I have learned refrain from sexual desires. It's a long story. Those long stories I am not taking this time so that I can cover more. But the story of pigeon and the story of elephant, if we get time, we can do it now, or we can do it some other time whenever you feel like.
Can you do it now?
Yeah. So let me complete everything and then we can do it. Okay? Then a deer, Himalayan deer, which has got elixir in its navel, likes the music a lot. And because music pleases its ears, and because of that, the hunter comes in, he plays a nice music and catches the deer alive, takes out the kasturi, the nectar. Okay? Musk it is called. The nectar is called musk. Deer is called musk deer. So what I have learned from this, that if you do not want to be bound, don't hear the words which are pleasing your ears. The moment you will like to hear the words which pleases your ears, somebody will bind you. And this I have been saying to someone for a very long time, but they don't understand. They try to always listen to something what they like to hear. Next one is fish. What he has learned from the fish is a very, very nice thing to understand. Fish has got the greed of food, and on that thing, I don't know what we call it, they put some food and try to put inside the sea, ocean or the water, and then fish in the greed of that food gets caught and becomes dependent and later becomes food. So if you want not to be dependent on anybody, you must leave the greed. This quality I have learned from fish. Then king, I have learned something also from a prostitute. Okay? And what I have learned from the prostitute is expectations is the mother of binding and sadness. This is also a long story. We can cover later. But learning, I am telling you, he has learned expectation is the mother of sadness and binding. And then there is a bird called lapping. It is called Kuru Pakshi in Hindi, and when it is translated, it is called lapping. And from lapping, I have learned that if you want to be happy, then you will have to leave your involvement. Your involvement brings in sadness. Leaving the involvement makes you happy. From child I have learned, a small child, it takes milk and becomes worry free, stress free, remains always in bliss. Okay. And from this child I have learned to smile without reason, to live worry free, to live stress free. And therefore, O king, this child is also my guru. Second thing, I have learned from a virgin, maiden. And what I have learned from the virgin, live alone. Never live with the human beings. They always quarrels. And I don't know, the moment I try to live with a human being in a loving way, I always find the other person starts quarreling with me. So from this virgin, Dattatray has learned to live alone and in solitude. Okay? The story is long. I think time is going. So these 3, 4, 5 stories, you can make another life and ask me, and I will be able to tell you those stories. From the snake, cobra, I have learnt never to make house. Never to make your own home. And go and live in a temple. Live in somebody else's house, because making house is a binding. So this house belongs to somebody and I come and stay, go. The responsibilities are over, and Dattatray says that he has learned not to build a house from a cobra. From artisan, you know artisan? From artisan, he says, I have learned ekagrata, unidirectional thinking. And how I have learned? Artisan was making an arrow, a king passed by. Then second rider passed by, third passed by, and the whole army passed by. He couldn't come to know about it because he was busy in his arrow. And then the person, a rider, came 15 minutes later and asked, friend, somebody has passed from this way. He said, no, nobody has gone from this way. At least I have not seen. So that ekagrata, that unidirectional approach I have learnt from this artisan. King, I have also learnt something from a spider. What? From this spider I have learnt the world is unimportant. And then from Bhringi, wasp, from wasp I have learnt that body is not important. So we shall not have attachment with our own body. These are the learnings I have made from these wonderful, beautiful 24 gurus. They are all my guru. And therefore I also say, from anything, you are walking on a train, I find a guru there. I am sailing, I find a guru there. Swimming, I find a guru there. Everywhere the guru's energy is present. And that is why when I started today's speech, I said Akhand Mandalakaram. Whatever, whoever, wherever this guru's energy is present, I pay my highest obedience to all those energies. And I also pay my highest obedience to all these 24 gurus of Dattatray. Thank you so much.